Alright, it's been a while since I've done a In Bed with Guitars episode. Most of my recent videos have been programming. I program Atari games. So when I'm not programming Atari games, taking care of kids, cooking, cleaning, doing dishes, and things like that, I'm working on guitars and playing guitar. And I like to record music. I come up with songs. A few of my videos on YouTube have my own songs that I've written, and I play. One of them is called Atari Stool, which is kind of a play on words for a sign of liver damage. Anyway, I noticed a trend in guitar collections, so today I'm going to run through my guitar collections. And I'm not a guitar collector that looks at value. I don't look at resale value. For me, it's I'm an eccentric guitarist, just like I'm an eccentric programmer. I'm an eccentric person. I rely mostly on a type of aesthetics that appeals to me only. So, and I've said this in previous videos, I don't really like what is called a stretched taffy guitar. Guitars that look like they're kind of stretched this way and that. I don't like battle axe guitars. I have a couple of guitars that kind of fit into that little bracket, but for the most part I like Strats, Super Strats, and then I have a couple of other that I also play. But for the most part it's going to be a Strat or a Super Strat for me. Strat style. I don't actually own a real Fender Stratocaster. One of these days I'd like to get one. I'd really love to get one just because it says Corona, California on it. That's really the only reason, because I know you're paying at least $500 just for the name Fender stamped on something. I know that there's a argument amongst guitar enthusiasts as to whether the higher end Squiers are not better than the Mexican made entry level $800 Player Series guitars. For me, it's about aesthetics, and then I can do a lot with the guitar. So I've watched dozens of guitar repair and instruction and building videos from so many different people. I've been through that. So I know how to work on guitars, and I know how to fix them and modify them and stuff. I've been modifying guitars for a long time, and I modified guitars before I really got into maintenance and repair and working on them and stuff. And it reminds me of when I saw this interview with John Madden. He said that the first real NFL game that an NFL player is in, he's never 100% again after that point. And it reminds me of guitars, because a guitar is never 100%. What appears to be a static object on the surface is actually constantly bending and twisting and contorting and warping and stretching and breathing. And so they're high maintenance musical instruments. And where you might have to drain the spit valve on a brass wind or something, and maybe polish it up a little bit so it doesn't pit or corrode or whatever those do. Guitars are constantly breathing and reacting to the humidity and to the weather and the temperature. So this is a good example of my eccentric guitar collecting nature. This is a 80s, pretty sure 80s, possibly early 90s Kramer. Now, once I heard that there were guitars that said Made in Neptune on them, I said, okay, I'm hunting a couple of those down. So this is actually a Made in Neptune, New Jersey, and I heard that was actually not true. They were either assembled or inspected or whatever. in New Jersey, but they're actually made in Japan or somewhere else. And I've heard that there are ways to tell. I don't really care. Yeah. What I cared about was, hey, it has a metal stamp on the back that says made in. Let's see. I don't even know if this will focus on this or not, but it says right on the back of this thing here, made in Neptune, New Jersey. And I thought, oh, that's just great. To have this, and it says Kramer. It's got your little stamp number on it. It says Neptune, NJ, New Jersey, USA, and I really like it. Okay, you've got a Floyd Rose 2 on it, and I'm sure that if you dig around on forums and stuff, everyone's going to bitch and moan about how this bridge is either good or bad or subpar and stuff like that. It's a great bridge. I love it. The adjustments are good. Saddles are pretty good. So in the upkeep of this instrument, which is at least 30 years old or more, I have adjusted it, of course. I've done the fretwork on it. Cleaned it up, cleaned up the fret edges, tuned it many times. It's probably not in tune. Maybe not. Probably not. It has that kind of longer horn and slightly kind of wider feel than your typical Strat. It reminds me of what became the Pacer. And people will say these are junk or that you shouldn't get them. This is a 300 ST, so it's your... it's not, this isn't a Pacer, this isn't, some, high-end Kramer. It is wood, I know that, and I really like how it looks. It's got the shimmer red kind of bowling ball paint job going on, like a glitter bowling ball. Now, of course, when you start out and you start doing bends and whammy bar stuff with your little trem bar, then you love your Floyd Rose. But the second a string breaks and your Floyd Rose immediately dives out of tune and all the other strings are out of tune, and you realize it's going to take a solid 15 to 20 minutes minimum to even get the thing in tune again, it becomes a real hassle. So if you're going to play Floyd Rose, you might want to have 3 Floyd Rose guitars at least, and they're all tuned up and they're all ready to go for when one string goes crazy. I always play 10s on pretty much everything. So these are 10s, and I just love them. I use certain strings. Sometimes I'll use, maybe more expensive strings like DRs, but I usually use GHS boomers because I love them. I love how they sound, and you can get a lot of them on the cheap. GHS boomers were invented for the Pink Floyd The Wall project, and then they've pretty much followed that same formula. Okay, now I'm not going to play all of these guitars. I'm going to just show my collection. I figured I'd start from left to right on my rainbow rack, which I have a rack of guitars that follow the pattern of rainbow colors. This is the far left red. The next one is a Fiesta red, almost orange. So yeah, it's a nice guitar. I really like it. You zoom in. It plays very, very well. Okay. Now I need to get in the back of it and tighten up this whammy bar. It's slightly looser than what I would usually use. Some people like their whammy bar to be floppy and loose. Some people like it to be so tight that you have to, really push to get it to move around. I'm somewhere in the middle with it. And, it probably could use a deoxit on the electronics, maybe, and of course any guitar could use better parts. So, maybe one day I could upgrade the pickups on this, although I haven't really found any reason to yet. I could probably put better pots in the knobs, maybe even replace the bridge, but I don't have a problem with any of the parts of the guitar. I really like it. Well, I mean, if I'm going to be nitpicky, I would always pick a maple neck over rosewood or whatever, you know, brown wood thing going on. I just prefer maple necks over everything. But yeah, it's a Kramer. Love the lettering. It's not a, you know, super high-end expensive Kramer, but like I said, it says made in Neptune, New Jersey on there. And I actually have a second one that I'll show here in a little bit that's made in Neptune. Okay, the second here is my effin' guitars. Fiesta Red Strat. And this guitar I've had a lot of fun with. When I first got this, I was really impressed. Now I've done a lot of little stuff to it. Usually the first thing I do when I get a Strat style guitar, and this is something I would recommend people do, is I replace the string trees with roller trees, because I can't stand those tinny metal bent, you know, whatever, Fender style string trees. So one of the first things I'm going to do is replace here right around this area here. I replace, this was the little trees, and this one's got locking tuning machines, so that's been a upgrade, and I would recommend that too. They really help a lot. It helps quite a bit to have your locking tuning machines. I've had this strap forever. I like to put this on whatever guitar I might be playing every once in a while. It's just a nice flowery kind of cool strap. I don't even remember where I got it. I've had it for a super long time. Now this is an effin' guitar. This is the house brand of Butler Music. So if you've ever purchased anything from Butler Music, they have a house brand thing going on. And I'm a sucker for house brands. I don't know why, but well, okay. Part of it is that they're good deals, but it's also because I don't think they want a bad name. And so if they're going to put their name on something, then they're going to try to make it good. So I'm of that opinion that, you know, house brands are often better deals when it comes down to it. Now this has this is the bridge it came with. You know, it doesn't have a huge you know, bar on the back of it, what I call a sustain bar, which is under the bridge. The best ones are fat and heavy, and they do affect sustain. They're fat and heavy and they resonate better. The thinner ones are cheap, they can even break, and they're really not that great. So I wouldn't recommend you know, cheap ones, but I can replace this with a higher quality one. I probably will one day. Most of the guitars I have, if they have a cheaper, thinner sustain block in the back of the bridge, I'll replace it with a higher quality bridge eventually. These are the pickups it came with, and I like how they sound. Now, it's a light guitar. The body, I don't know if it's basswood or what, but it seems to be comfortably light. It's really easy to play, and it feels great to play. I was surprised when I first played this at how well it played. But of course I wanted to do the whole neck and everything, and I noticed that when I was doing the neck, I wanted to test to see if this was a real what do they call it, like a roasted maple. And I don't know if roasted maple has, you know, the cleaner maple under it, or if this is just a coloration. But I went ahead and sanded every fret, and it really helped. It just made it feel way better than it even did. And I left this notch roasted just to see that contrast. But so the whole neck's been done, every fret, it's been polished and everything, and I've done a lot of work to it. I like the knobs. The knobs are what came on it. The only thing I've changed were I sanded the neck, did all the frets, changed the string trees, and changed the tuning machines. And other than that, this is good. The only thing I'm going to change will probably be the bridge, and I'll replace it with probably a Wilkinson with a nice fat bar under it. That'll be good for sustain. I love the color. I love Fiesta Red, and I just love how light this guitar is overall. It's a nice light one. I have another one that's from Butler that I'll show later. But you know, when you get a house brand, usually they have you know, they put their name or some kind of cool name or logo on it, and you're getting a higher quality instrument because they want you to come back. So you know, if they I had this experience, and some people might have had this experience, and this is in contrast with cigars. So there's a place called Thompson. For decades, Thompson was one of the go-tos for the best deals on cigars. So they had their own house brand, and they're significantly cheaper than, of course, than the more like popular names. So this is off on a little bit of a tangent, but when there was the problem with Cuba, there was something called the cigar family exodus, and all of the people who made cigars left Cuba, took their seeds and all of their know-how and went to different surrounding countries like Panama and stuff like that. They went to all kinds of different places, and then like Nicaragua. And so they started making all their cigars in the same way, only they were no longer in Cuba. And so recently, I think they've lifted all of that stuff, whatever embargoes or things that kept them from doing that, and so they've started to bring that stuff back. Now, over the period of time that Thompson started becoming one of the more popular online and catalog-oriented cigar sellers, they developed their own house brand. And their house brand actually can have problems sometimes. Like you can get, you might get a box of 10 of them or 12 of them or something, and then you might have 2 or 3 of them that aren't that great. But you paid considerably less overall. So there are good and bad reasons to go with house brands. And when it comes to guitars, I would say that, you know, no store wants you to buy their house brand and then go, I'm not going to that store again because they ripped me off with this house brand instrument. And so Effin Guitars, being a house brand of Butler Music is a good store. Well, I've bought several guitars from Butler Music, and they'll work with you. Okay, they'll work with you, and if you have a problem, they'll just, you know, make it as comfortable as possible. I've heard horror stories about, like, you know, Guitar Center or especially Reverb. I myself have had some problems with Reverb. You know, Reverb, you can get a guitar that is junk, but on the surface it looks great. I got a Dean. It was like an MX or something, and it had the dime bag pickups on it and stuff. One day I noticed it was cutting out a little bit, so I unscrewed the input jack and was going to get in there and resolder the points on the input jack. I figured that must be the problem. When I opened that input jack and took it out, a pile of sawdust fell out of that guitar. So, you know, if you want to look at problems with quality control, you should never be opening, especially with something with the name Dean printed on it. You shouldn't be opening up that guitar and having sawdust come out. I cleaned it up. You know, I did a little bit of work on it to try to get it nice. I went ahead and fixed whatever jitters were going on with it, and then I sold the guitar. And the few guitars I've bought from Reverb, most of them were not good. They were junk guitars. So I stopped going to Reverb, and I would not recommend Reverb unless unless they have some type of good feedback that you might be able to trust. You know, let your instincts help you along with that, so that you know, hey, this is too good to be true, then it is not true, you know. And then you know, look out, just look out and be ready to deal with it. Now this was probably before I was using PayPal for everything, and I might not have even noticed any problems at first, as my experience with guitars, you know, I've played for a very, very, very long time, but when I started out, you know, whatever, 30 years ago, over 30 years ago, I just played. And so I wasn't, you know, as discerning. It was just pick up, strum, hopefully you're in tune, and I really wasn't of that mindset to want to know every little tiny detail of everything. And then since, of course, I've, you know, I've known and watched and learned so much that I look at a guitar in a totally different way. So yeah, house brands I think are usually good when it comes to guitars. Of course, there are horror stories, especially with Guitar Center. So this is my first house brand on the list. It is an effin' guitar, and it's Butler's house brand. Really good stiff switch. The knobs turn great. They don't feel hoppy or chinky or chintzy or loose or anything. They're nice, even. I won't say it has like the greatest pots ever. They're probably dime, I don't know. You know, I think I might have been in there once, but maybe not. I have taken apart a lot of my guitars though, and I recommend it. Once you get a guitar, it's a good idea to tear that thing apart and just look through everything and see what you're dealing with. Sometimes you can fix problems before they ever even happen, before they manifest. So yeah. Okay, next up is just a treat. Now, controversial as all let out, this is a Glarry. Okay, it's their, you know, entry-level Strat style, really lightweight but good. The companies that make Glarrys also made other guitar brands. They made Isen, Iren, and several other brands. They're cheap, quick, and they're hit or miss. This one was a hit. Okay, when I got this guitar and first started playing it, I immediately was just like, this thing plays so good that I can't believe it. And of course it had a few little things here and there. The frets needed worked. So what have I done on this one? I've replaced all of the saddles with roller saddles. So these are all roller saddles. This is a custom made knob with a matching color one ball on there. I think I'll go ahead and zoom in on the body. Okay, we'll zoom in on the body and just kind of scoot it up here. Yeah, it says vegan on there. I found a cool vegan sticker, put it on. I've been a vegan for a long time. I'm an eccentric vegan. I'm not going to get in an argument with people about it. You do you, and I'll stick to my guns and do my thing. Okay, so there's this cool custom one ball trem bar. I'll just say right out, for the sake of veganism, regardless of what you believe, whether you care about animals, whether you care about yourself, whether you care about your children or the environment or whatever your reasoning might be, processed meat is a group 1 carcinogen. It causes cancer, just like cigarettes. It's like cigarettes. You don't you eat processed meat, and then because you ate it, you get cancer. Okay, red meat is a group 2A. It causes cancer. Most meat causes cancer, or at the very least causes heart fat and all kinds of other problems. I'd rather not try to get into it. This is a guitar video, but before people start fanging on me about being a vegan, just plain and simple, whether I was cared about the environment, animals, or anything like that, I understand when they tell you something is carcinogenic, what that means. So there, that's out there now. So yeah, it says vegan on my guitar. Now their switch is one of your cheap but it works great. It feels good. It's stiff enough to where once you get it in that, once you get that in the spot, you know, hey, that's good. And it doesn't cut out, it doesn't short out or anything like that. The knobs are okay. Maybe they're a little quick. You know, they're not loose or anything funky like that. Now, I have taken this guitar apart and done stuff with it. This is not the Glarry that you get right out of the box. Okay, so I've replaced the saddles here with roller saddles. That really helps with sustain, and overall tonality is improved greatly with roller saddles. I've done the complete bridge. All the frets have been done several times over. Custom knob. Also these types of roller saddles. This was before I got the Fender style roller saddles. And locking tuners. So locking tuning machines on there. With all of that together, and this is a baseball bat neck. It's really good. If you don't like this kind of neck, you won't like this no matter what. Look how thick that neck is. It really looks like a baseball bat. So yeah, it's a grip. Look at that. You can see my hand is just taken up by it, and I'm not a little person. So you get a really meaty neck with this. This is not how their GST2 was. This is their GST, just your you know, entry level. I love the color, the yellow. I absolutely love it. And I think it cracked along the back somewhere, maybe. Yeah, there's actually a crack right here, and I mean, you barely can even see it, and I could care less, honestly. I put some stickers on it off other things. Zinger sauce. I put a Zinger sauce sticker that my son gave me from Taco Bell. I put this quality control sticker from something else. They do not belong on it. They're not. They're just something to throw on there just for goofiness. Of course, I've done the nut work and put the strings nice and low. I wouldn't be surprised if this guitar is in tune right now. Yeah. I love it. It is one of my favorite guitars. It really is. It turned into one of my favorites. I've worked on the jack. Sometimes with these Glarrys, your jack will be kind of the little connector metal on the inside of the jack will be just barely enough to get a halfway decent connection to your output cable, and so, you know, I'll get in there and just bend it down about, you know, a couple millimeters just so it grips tighter onto that cable, and it fixes it completely. A lot of fun with this. When I do guitars, if you've watched any of my other videos, you might already know this, but I put a little lift on the bridge. So my bridge is never flat against the body. I always put, you know, a little bit of lift here so I can get some upward bend and downward bend. I float, okay, in quotes here. I float the bridge, and honestly, after you've worked with that and figured it out, and you know, it has to do with spring tension and all kinds of other factors come into play, this is even preferable to a Floyd Rose. Yes, it's going to lose tune, but it's just half the time getting a new string on it or retuning it and getting it ready to go again than having to unlock the nut of a Floyd Rose and have to deal with all those moving parts and stuff. So this is guitar number 3, my yellow Glarry, and yeah, this was the first Glarry that I got. Now I had gotten one from the same factory before that from I think it was IRIN, I-R-I-N, and it was the same as their little shredder super strats that they do, and I just upgraded it as much as I possibly could. I put like I put Schecter pickups in it, Schecter Guitar Research pickups. I changed it around. I put custom tuners, custom knobs, and it's actually my youngest son's guitar now, and it plays great. It was a really good guitar right out of the box. And it's the same as the white and black super shredders that they sell at Glarry. It's identical, other than saying Glarry on the headstock instead of iSyn or iRen or whatever, you know, whatever company's going on with that. And this has probably been shimmed too. I often will shim a neck. I do whatever it takes to get the action where it needs to be. So this one's a great one. I'm really pleased with it. I recommend giving them a try if you don't mind customizing or spending more money on your guitar, working on your guitar. Don't buy from them if you just want to grab something right out of a box and have it be perfect, miraculously in tune and be a flawless, perfect instrument. That's from Glarry. That's probably not going to happen. Okay, now we're going to get into this controversial. Okay, this is a Mitchell, and Mitchell was Guitar Center's house brand. And apparently they, you know, spent a little extra money to try to get a, you know, professional grade instrument. Even Dolly Parton played a Mitchell on stage and really got some people's attention. When I first got this guitar, I was just totally blown away. I couldn't believe how incredibly good it played and how great it sounded. This guitar, the pickup sounds so good, the neck plays so good. I loved everything about it. I noticed though upon inspection, this was something I missed in the pictures, that one of the little parts on the metal on the locking nut was chipped off. And I'm thinking, did I do that? So I looked at the pictures. Of course, I'm, you know, kind of obsessive, so I saved all of the pictures from the eBay sale. And they put, in the eBay sale, it was hilarious, this guy put a picture from a movie called Mitchell. And it was about a cop who had lost his mind, and I'm pretty sure he was like getting ready to swing a guitar at someone, like he was getting ready to murder someone with a guitar, like literally using it as an axe. And I knew exactly what this picture meant, is that welcome to, you know, our frustration. I zoomed in and looked, and I noticed that the chipped part from the locking metal part on the headstock was in the picture. So I had purchased it, and I'll tell you, I've really looked much closer whenever I buy a guitar, a used guitar. But of course, what I did was what anyone that has such a great playing instrument would do, is I replaced it. I put a Ibanez metal, and they're different. The metal that was on the headstock originally was, I don't know if it was pot metal or what, but it certainly chipped too easy to be, you know, strong. And what I put on it was the a very high quality Ibanez metal part that was very strong, not pot metal. And this is that part. So I'll go ahead and hold it up here. The locking nut there, what's under the nut. So this part here, the little metal edge part that the nut is locked down against. One part, and it was actually, I'll go ahead and point at the part that it was this little metal flap that sticks up and guides the string. It didn't affect the guitar at all. It really didn't. It didn't affect it in the slightest bit, but it was just not there. And I was, yeah. So this is an Ibanez part, and it fits perfectly. It's been adjusted and set up properly. So here's your headstock. Okay, I love it. Absolutely love it. There's the stock tuning machines, handcrafted in China or Indonesia. Let's see. Handcrafted in China. Yep. And the neck on this is really thin. It is. It's really thin. I love everything about this guitar, though. I mean, absolutely every little tiny thing about this instrument. I put this knob on it. It has kind of a glowing green thing. This is I think this is a stock knob. Maybe not. I might have put a darker knob on it just for fun. The switch is quick, but it works great. I'm the type of person that lives around the bridge and very rarely goes to the neck. I'll usually go all bridge or bridge middle. Sometimes middle, but not usually. I'm very rarely, if ever. Maybe if I'm doing some clean, acoustic-y style without heavy distortion, I might be up here in the middle or on the neck or up in the neck. But usually I'm back here at the bridge to get the treble and the crunch, and I just love it. I love it. Now this is your Floyd Rose Special. And of course everyone says, those suck, those are terrible. I love this bridge. I have no problem with it at all. It's aged. It's got a little bit of discoloration over the years that I've had this instrument. Really cheap bridges, not Floyd Rose stamped. These parts here that they clamp down. The parts that clamp down here, when you turn this tiny little metal block that actually clamps down the clipped string to hold it in place, this tightens it down. Now there are little edges on it that you can feel, okay, and it's high quality. But cheap ones, this will be painted, and this will be like a crappy pop metal bolt, and this will start to wear away when you stick the wrench in there and turn it. Then the inside of it will start to wear away right away. And once this is messed up, you can't tighten down to get your string on there. So at least it's Floyd Rose. At least these bolts are high enough quality to where that's not going to happen. The fine tuners are really, really good and clean and perfect. So yeah, I couldn't possibly complain. I love this guitar. And honestly, I would recommend it. I would recommend Mitchell to anyone. And just like pretty much any guitar manufacturer, there are hit and miss. Even with your high-end Fender stuff, you might find that it's a hit or miss situation. You might get a $1,500 to $2,000 guitar, and there is just something about it that doesn't click with you. So to say that a brand is always crap, or that you're not going to get a good one from this or that or the other, I can't believe that, because, you know, I've gotten expensive Deans that sucked. I've gotten cheap guitars that were very, very good. So I can't you know, okay, I listen. One of my next videos I'm going to do after this guitar collection video is I'm going to do a video of all of the YouTubers that I watch. And it is a massive list of all the musician, guitarists, reviewers, customizers, luthiers that I watch. You're going to be blown away, because it's pages. I wrote them all down in its pages, but one of them in particular that I'll note in this episode is Guitar Max. He is one of the most polished, proficient, technical, and he's exemplary. He is a excellent guitarist, to the point where there are only a handful of guitarists on YouTube that even come anywhere near the skill level that he has, and he reviews cheap instruments, and he'll tell you this is a good one, this is a bad one, this is a $200 or $300 guitar that's worth $600 to $800, this is an expensive guitar and it's not very good. He will not, you know, he's not sugarcoating anything, but like me, he'll tell you it doesn't have to be a ridiculously expensive guitar to be good. You can get a good guitar for not too much money. Now this guitar was used off of eBay, and based on the picture alone, someone was very frustrated with the instrument. They put that movie poster from the movie Mitchell about a gung-ho cop who was about to murder somebody, and this was them expressing their frustration. I did not have that type of frustration with this instrument. Of course, I did a fret job on it, and it has really, really great frets. The frets are like tall, thick, jumbo, rounded. They are exceptional frets. I love them. But I did the frets. I polished them. I did, you know, whatever. Level crown polish, did the ends of it. This one didn't need shimmed at all. I know this neck was pretty much perfect as it was. Of course, I replaced the locking part up there that the locking headstock parts bolt down into. That was the one part that I replaced. I still have the old part somewhere, just to remember what a pot metal junk locking tuner piece looks like. But the all the parts though are good now. That was the one part upon examination that really wasn't that great. So yeah, this is a house brand from Guitar Center back when they had Mitchell as their house brand. And you know, I would absolutely recommend a Mitchell guitar. You can get one. There's a good chance you're going to be impressed with the level of quality that the instrument has, especially for the price. They had some quality control issues. They had some instruments that didn't pass, but they passed. And when people got them in their hands, they said, oh man, this thing's messed up here and here and here. And so the prices dropped suddenly and significantly to where guitars that were selling at Guitar Center as their house brand for $400 or $500 were dropping down to $200 or less to get rid of their stock. There are Mitchell guitars that don't have this advanced bridge that are much less expensive, but they have these unique bodies that are awesome. And the one cool thing, it has a jack right here. So you've got kind of a downward jack going on right there, which is cool. You know, you can easily put your cord down the back of it. You're not tugging and yanking on it and stuff. A lot of cool features. The pickups are incredible. This guitar chugs like pretty much nothing else. It really has a ripping crunch. Now, of course, I'm in full agreement with you know, with Spectre Sound and all these guys out here who are saying the pickups are not as important as your speaker. Okay, and I absolutely agree with that. I use PA system, and I also use a Hartkey 50, which is excellent, and my main, you know, chugging amp is a Boss Katana. So yeah, I got enough speakers that are good, that sound great. I do get it. I'm not, you know, I'm not one of those guitarists who says that this has to be this or that or the other. And you know, your sound is coming out of your speakers, and that really matters more than a lot of things do. But these are good pickups though. I'll just say right out, what it came with are excellent loud pickups. I love them. So yeah. Second house brand. Okay. Next on the list, and she's a little smeared up from being played recently, and this also has a Floyd Rose special, like the last one, is this, I think it's a Dean Zone 2. I just saw this on eBay, and I don't know if this really, you know, speaks for what the asking prices and value, rising, falling, stuff like that, because a lot of them were from Japan, and it would seem that some things that are listed as from Japan have grossly exaggerated prices. But I saw this guitar, one from America, two from Japan, and the ones from Japan were $700 and $800 before shipping, with like $100 or $200 shipping tacked on. I didn't pay that for this guitar. I don't remember what I paid for it, but it wasn't anywhere near that. So if the value of this guitar has went up that much, which I can understand, this guitar hits above its weight class. It is one of the best shredder kind of guitars that I've ever played. I've done the neck. I've worked it out. This has been set up by me, but the guitar is stock. I haven't changed anything. Every part of it is just as it was out of the box stock. I just went ahead and, you know, did the frets. It plays so good, and it sounds so good. It is such a loud guitar. I love it. So yeah, purple. Now the Zone guitars have a more rounded body, and they have green and pink with green and pink necks respectively. This one is a more angled kind of super shredder style body, like kind of like almost like Ibanez style, or like LTD. It has your reverse headstock Wingding logo. Really great tuners. The tuners are excellent. I think they're stamped. They're not stamped, but they look a lot like Godot's. They might be Godot's. I think they are. Now that I've got it flipped over, let's look. Yeah, they're Godot's. These are stamped Godot's, and but yeah, the guitar chugs. This guitar is loud and proud. It's an excellent instrument. I love every tiny little thing about it. Every time I play it, I love it. I got the action nice and low. I think this pickup here is too high. As I'm looking at it, I can just see that this pickup is too high. I don't know if I did that on purpose or what. Yeah, I don't know. I need to lower this pickup slightly, because I can just visibly see that it's too high. I don't remember doing that, so that's weirding me out a little tiny bit. But this isn't a guitar repair maintenance video, but this is definitely getting lowered slightly, because it's right under, just like almost touching that fat E. This guy's the way it's supposed to be. Anyway, I like the bridge. It's got the tactile ridges. You know, it's the good metal bolts. Really good fine tuners. You know, like I said earlier, if you get one of these bridges, a cheap one is going to have pot metal bolts that are painted. They're not tactile. They don't have little ribbing around the edge of the bolt. And when you get in here and turn it, it's going to wear away and ruin the instrument quickly. They have very, very short lifespans. This is a great bridge for what it is. Of course, it's not as good as an original Floyd Rose. Might not even be as good as a Floyd Rose 2, but you know, that's for a forum of, you know, Floyd Rose aficionados that are ate up on the subject. I'm one of those people where this is a Floyd Rose brand, and so it's good enough for me. So, you know, just like with the Wizard 3 and the Edge, or the Wizard 2, the Edge 3, people argued in the Ibanez forums about whether the Edge 3 was even something that should be on instruments, and I think it's a great bridge. I don't have a problem with the Edge 3 at all. It's done me great since I've had it. So yeah, I had to get a Super Shredder Ibanez, and in all honesty, one of these days, if I'm going to sell and weed out my collections, I'll probably sell my guitars with Floyd Rose bridges, just because my style has moved over towards hardtails and 2-pin and 6-screw Fender style bridges. These are such high maintenance. Just to tune this thing, get ready for a joy, you know, just trying to tune it. But they sound good, they play great, and they're fun. And it's, you know, it's an invention. Really cool. But I love this guitar. It really plays great. And I feel like I'm just, you know, broken record about this, but I've seen other people's guitar collection videos. Maybe I'm the same as them, is I want to love my guitars, but there are guitars that I own that I'm not going to be saying that about. So if you bear with me, you'll find out. Okay, now we have the second Kramer in my list. Now Kramer is owned by Gibson now, and they've come out with some cheap stuff with Kramer on it, and negative reviews, of course, because they're entry level, junky, kind of low end, but I love that stuff. I like getting something that people say sucks and then turning it into something good. So I guess turd polishing or whatever. But in guitars, you know, you don't really polish a turd. If it plays bad, it plays bad, and if it plays good, it plays good. And if you can get a, you know, frowned on, rejected, you know, guitar that people turn their nose to and stuff, like the new Kramer by Gibson kind of stuff, and then turn it into something good, then, you know, that's good. So that's not turd polishing as much as it's, you know, creating a higher level of functionality. But this, like the red one that was my first guitar in this list, is a made in Neptune, New Jersey Kramer. It's a Kramer XL2. This one has been loved a little harder than the other one. The other one is like new condition. No cracks, chips, scratches, or anything like that. It's in really, really great condition, considering how old it is especially. This one, somebody has repaired this in a way that you should not repair it. This was getting loose, so they drilled a new hole and installed it. Then they actually had a hole here for whatever reason. I can't imagine why someone would put a hole down here. So this, it needs filled. I'll just hold it up there and show you. There's a hole here, bah! And then you've got here where somebody tried to repair this, and you can see that it has the original hole that's too loose, and they just drilled another hole. So to fix this, I'm gonna have to take this off, fill both of those holes, fill this hole, probably paint over them with some nail polish or something, and then re-drill the original hole, and then put this back in its original hole, and that will fix it. What could have really been literally jamming toothpicks down the original hole, squirting some Elmer's school glue in there, letting it dry, and then re-screwing in your strap, your little strap lock here, and that's all it would have been. And it would have been something, and instead it turned into drill here, oh no, drill here, leave that there, and it just, meh. So, what I do to this guitar, it's a 2-pin, which I love. They're kind of thin though, which was something that happened in the 80s. I plan on replacing this bridge eventually, but what I did was replaced all of the saddles. So these are replaced saddles on the original bridge. This is a custom-made orange dice whammy bar, wiggle stick, trem bar thingy. Here's your pickup switch. It's 3 settings: bridge, both, neck. Of course, I'm going to be on bridge. These are Dragonfires. So I love Dragonfire pickups. I can't say enough about them. I just love them. I love them. They're loud and fun. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here. And you can see, here's the custom. These were made for sale on eBay. And I thought, oh, I love it. I love orange. Orange is my favorite color. I love orange. I love yellow. But orange is just my favorite color. I love it. As you get older, you grow up, and then you start to love secondary colors more than primary colors. And where everyone says, oh, blue is my favorite color, red is my favorite color, I'm like, nah, man, orange is my favorite. It's a secondary color. I'm on a quest to find others that are like me, who like secondary colors more than primary colors. So these are those Dragonfires. I installed those. These are custom knobs that I installed that don't exactly match the darkness of the orange of the other components, and I definitely don't care. This one has DR neon rainbow strings, which I absolutely love. Now, I would not recommend using DR neon strings or any of these funny coated strings on a Floyd Rose, because that coating is the layer that's going to slip, and then your string is going to detune probably right after you get it to tension and it sounds perfect. So as far as these type of bridges though, where you've got your ball end way down in there grabbing on and it's not doing anything, they sound great and they look amazing. Like in the dark or when light hits them and stuff, they just look incredible. And I love them. It looks like this string might be a little low. I need to, yeah, I can tell just looking at it, I need to raise this string slightly on my bridge. Never 100%. So I've done the neck, I've probably shimmed the neck. It has one of these things I hate about guitars, this bar right here. This bar might as well be called a, you know, inconvenient detuning bar, because it loosens and tightens strings whenever it feels like it, and your strings are all going underneath it, and they're going to detune it. And of course, this is all born from the Fender non-bent headstock. You know, like back when people were first inventing and making electric guitars, Gibson had the brilliant idea of bending the headstock at a certain angle, and then the break angle that pulls the strings across the nut is enough to somewhat maintain tuning. What it ended up doing is not maintaining tuning and making a fragile point on the guitar where if it's dropped, it always breaks around this area. So there's a whole business of nothing but repairing broken headstocks on Gibson guitars because of that. But Leo Fender's answer was to put string trees on it, on the headstock. So the headstock is slightly recessed, you can see, but that's still part of the cut. When they cut this, they just cut it lower and then ramped it up a little bit, and then the neck is along with it. Now sometimes people will cheap out and use a scarf joint. That's great. They're totally perfect and work well and do their job. But for the most part, these Strats and Super Strat style guitars are just going to rely on whatever can give them a better break angle to maintain tuning. And what Kramer did was, rather than string trees, they put this bar across all of the strings. But what it does is it makes a catch underneath it where the string gets to grind along it and be, you know, kind of in tune or not. And it's just barely pushing on that string, and it's going to go bleh and then be out of tune and suck. Now this guitar, for how old it is, it plays really, really good. And it's played good since I first got it. It had a couple of tiny issues. The original saddles were just about gone. The little adjustment bolt peg thingies, whatever you want to call them, palm swords, the adjustment palm swords that will stick up out here and shred your hand, were about gone. They weren't, and the saddles themselves really sucked. Now I'm looking at 2-pin bridges that match this width, which are hard to find, and I'm probably going to get one like a Mitchell, or not a Mitchell, what am I saying, a Wilkinson. I'm gonna get a Wilkinson 2-pin that will fit this, and then this bridge is going to be butter. It's going to be absolutely perfect. Those Wilkinson bridges, though, you need to be careful with, because there's an adjustment bolt on the back of every saddle. And once there's tension on that saddle because of that bolt, if you try to move the saddle forwards or backwards, it will put a lot of stress on that bolt, and it will break, and you can't get a new one. So get ready to have that fun. And you know, if you loosen it, then you lower the saddle, and so moving it forward and backward to intonate your bridge becomes a hit or miss kind of back and forth hassle of having to loosen tension on the bolt, lengthen or shorten the distance of the saddle, raise, then tighten again, and then test intonation. And then if it doesn't work, you get to go through that whole process over and over and over again. I know by experience because I've had one of them break. So I have but honestly, the Wilkinson bridge is magnificent. It's just, especially the 2-pin, they are incredible bridges. They sound so very, very good. And they're not very expensive. You might pay, you know, I don't know, $50 to $70 for one. And you know, there are bridges out there that might be $300. But the Wilkinson bridges are great. I can totally recommend them, and I've used them. And mine is one adjustment bolt away from being usable again. And I think I saw a listing for them on eBay from the UK, and then right when I got money I went to go look, and of course they were all gone. But if I can get another one of those bolts, then I might just try the Wilkinson bridge. I think it's a WS2 or something that I have put back that might fit this pin layout. Either way, this guitar is great and I love it. Broken record, I love this guitar. There's our brighter. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. Made in Neptune, New Jersey, USA. I love that so much. One of these days I might just get and this isn't the original, and this is what came with the instrument, so they put this on there. I might just get Made in Neptune custom neck plates just to have Made in Neptune all over everything, just because of how fun that is. But yeah, this guitar is a player. It plays really well. I love it. It's a little high on the action, but it just doesn't bother me. One complaint I've got, if I'm going to nitpick about anything, is that it's one of those painted, lacquered necks. And I don't like that because it's gummy. And not gummy, but I don't know. I always prefer, you know, the satin or raw kind of feel of a neck that makes it faster. But really, when I choose to play this, I don't let that get in my way. It doesn't really bother me. And I love the body style. This is the type of body that I really love. What I'll probably end up doing one day, if I choose to, is just, like I said, replacing the bridge and maybe even putting a maple Fender style neck on this body. And then I don't think it could be any more perfect than that. You know, just to have it set up like that. So it's a Kramer XL2 from the day, from the whatever, 80s, late 80s, early 90s. I'm pretty sure it's a late 80s. Made in Neptune, New Jersey, Kramer. Alright, now we've gone past dark blue on my rainbow spectrum into light blue. This is a sawtooth. One of my kids came home from school and we play catch a lot, and sometimes I watch baseball. It's a sport that I can tolerate. The two sports that I can tolerate, that I actually very much love and enjoy watching, are baseball and bowling. And so I'll play catch with my kids, I'll watch baseball. My son, I got him a bat that's, you know, little league regulation, and I'll throw the ball for him so he can hit it and stuff. So baseball is a part of my life. So yeah, I love baseball. Got a orange glove. How about that? Rollins. So yeah. Love baseball. If I could play, you know, I would. Maybe one day I'll get into old folks, or like I don't know, I'll get in a one of those leagues where it doesn't matter who you are and just go play. I wanted to play, but bowling, I love bowling. Bowling it's probably my favorite sport. It's even with baseball. I consider them so different from each other, though. They're just different entities altogether. But so, kid comes home from school. I have a baseball sticker, Pop. I'm going to give it to you. I want you to have it. So I said, okay. And then I was looking at this guitar and thought, this looks like a sky, like a blue sky. So I just stuck the baseball right on there. And it's like a baseball going through the sky. What have I done to this guitar? I put custom knobs on it. Just to add some flair. It's got your fake pearloid pickguard, which I honestly could care less about. I bought this guitar used off of eBay, and it came with a case. And I want to say it was like, I don't know, 200 bucks or something like that for the guitar with a hard shell case. And I couldn't possibly turn down that deal. I'd heard that sawtooth guitars were good. This guitar played great right out of the box, used right out of the case, 100% perfect. But I did want to make some changes to it, so I put roller saddles on it, to help sustain and tonality, and it does help. I think I shimmed the neck on this guitar. I did, of course, did the nut, did the neck at least once. The neck's probably been done twice by now. I put roller saddles on it. I think the tuners are what came on it. So it's had roller saddles, it's had the nut done, it's had the neck done a couple times, it's been shimmed, and it's had the saddles replaced with roller saddles and cool little custom knobs put on it. And there's your Sawtooth. Now Sawtooth is like ChromaCast, and ChromaCast works with Michelangelo Badio to make his custom guitars. They do the Sawtooth drum set, which I have. I have the professional Sawtooth drum set, which is incredible. It's well, it's way too good for me, in all honesty. It is a super high level drum set, and I'm still learning to play. And I also have 2 other drum sets that are lower level, and I have an easier time playing the lower level ones, but the Sawtooth one is just the best all around. I love everything about it. The Sawtooth drum set I have, of course off subject, is magnificent. And it's got, you know, the triple flange hoops that are thinner, like the vintage stuff. It's the only gripe I've got about it is it needs new heads. The heads are thin, tinny, loud, flappy, kind of treble heads. And I'm going to put hydros. I'm putting oil heads all around, red hydros, Evans hydros, that are going to be thuddy, thick, bassy, low. Boom. So I know that's what I like, because one of my other drum sets has oil heads on it, and it's my favorite sound. So, but once I get oil heads on the Sawtooth, it's going to be like the greatest drum set of all time. Now this Sawtooth is a great guitar. I can't say enough good stuff about them. They're a great brand. One time though, their distributor through eBay, DPS, or I think it's called DPS, they had a deal. I had some money. I'd been eyeing their white shredder with an amp. It comes with a little, I don't know, like a 20 watt something, gorgeous looking little Sawtooth amp. It wasn't like black box. It had the like mesh style grid and just a really good look to it. It had the stand. It had Michelangelo Badio's signed certificate and all this great stuff. I bought it, and then they said they'd shipped it, right? And I mean, I was losing it. I was just like, yes, I can't wait to get this guitar. I want it so bad. Then they told me that guitar's not in stock, and they refunded my money. And that was like, you know, it would have been less of a kick in the nuts if they would have just told me that's not in stock and gave me a refund. But they said it had shipped. And I'm sitting there like, yes, I can't wait to get this guitar. Now, since then, they've come out with newer Michelangelo Badio signature guitars that have an oval shaped pick guard, and they have more eccentric kind of setup that fits him more. And honestly, I think he's one of, if not the greatest guitarist of all time. You know, Michelangelo Badio, the first time I watched one of his clinic videos, I immediately played faster and better than I'd ever played before. Like, you can't watch him without learning. You can't be around him without absorbing something from him. He just has that type of resonance coming off of him. And a lot of people have never heard of him, but he is like one of, if not the best guitarist in the entire world. He's definitely one of the fastest, and he's so technical. He has degrees in music, stuff like that. He does Speed Kills, which is a learning instructional video set, and he's just, you know, fun. Sometimes I wish, you know, I could just like learn everything from him, because he's so good. He can play anything and anyone and any style, and he just really has that feel. Now, this isn't a Michelangelo Badio Sawtooth though. This is just their, you know, but I'll tell you, it's a very high quality guitar. It's nice and heavy. Sounds good, feels good, plays good. Honestly, it's probably, no, it's not in tune right now. Haven't played this one in a little while. One gripe, if I'm going to gripe, is I like the newer plug-in style trem bars rather than the screw-in. But the screw-in's just part of it. When if I replace the bridge, I'll get a push-pull kind of a plug-in one of these. Other than that, you know, I couldn't possibly complain. And I might take the sticker off one day. Probably not though, because my kids gave it to me. And just all around good instrument. I love the maple neck. But if I was going to upgrade it, I would put a Fender style neck on it. Yeah, because I love those. I've done that upgrade. So, that's my Sawtooth Sky Blue baseball guitar. Okay, now this is my second Mitchell. Now Mitchell did the shredder stuff, and then they also did the Strat stuff. This guitar, I upgraded the bridge. This is a Fender bridge. I think it's a Player Series bridge, 2-pin, bent steel, Fender stamped saddles, Fender bar. This has a push-pull, which does single coil on the humbucker next to the bridge. Perloid, probably fake, pick guard. Nice, good switch. I've seen a popular blues musician endorsing this instrument, and or jazz musician. I've seen some pro guys out there endorsing this Mitchell. I have go-to guitars. Now, of all the instruments that I just showed from my rack, my rainbow rack's what I call it, this is one of my go-to guitars. When I'm actually recording and playing guitar, this is one of them that I'll use for that. Now, this is one of the best guitars I've ever played. It plays so easy, plays so perfectly, and I love everything about it. It came with locking tuning machines standard, so it's got these beautiful locking tuning machines. Just love them. I really love them. I recommend it. It's got that really cool looking headstock, shiny. It's kind of level like that, kind of a little scoop down the bottom. Good nut. The neck is excellent. Usually I prefer maple, but this actually is a great neck. I'm sure most people probably would prefer rosewood or whatever to maple, but I prefer maple above all else. If I'm going to build my own guitar from the ground up, maple is going to be the fretboard, no matter. But I love this fretboard. It's good enough. Now it has the radius like older Fender. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 7.5 or something like that. You can see the radius, how round it is, but it plays great. It's got your HSS, really solid, loud, vibrant humbuckers. Now this had the Wilkinson that had the problem with the saddle, and so when I looked for replacement stuff, I thought, well, I'm definitely going to get a bolt to fix the saddle, so rather than get another Wilkinson, I'll go ahead and try a Fender that matches it. So this is the Fender that matches it. It has a nice big fat sustain block underneath that bridge. I adore the bent metal saddles. Some people hate them, and this eventually evolved into the block saddles that have the V or U-shaped kind of divots in the front. But before that, and back on original stuff, I'm pretty sure like 50s and early 60s era, Strats had these bent metal. I love it. I don't care. You could prove to me how bad they suck and you're not going to change my mind. I love bent metal saddles. They're my favorite. I mean, with this type of bridge, this is my favorite. I just love it. Let me see here. Still in tune, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this, of course, like I said about the other one, was a Guitar Center house brand. I bought this guitar used. I think I bought it from a secondhand shop, like maybe a pawn shop or something. And I've had some bad luck with pawn shops. I usually don't trust pawn shops. You know, whether they have a guitar expert in their shop or not, they're more likely to lie to you about the condition of the instrument or just be vague enough to tempt you. But this guitar, I could tell they had a ton of pictures, and it was like new when I got it. It was like no one had ever even played the guitar. Wouldn't be surprised if it had never been played when I got it. So yeah, it sounds really, really great. Now the handshake on these guys is good. They put this rounded thing going on, so there's lots of room in there when you reach up. It's got the no plate. It's got the easy access matching pearloid cover. It is raised though. On a more expensive guitar they will cut down so that this is flush with the body. That means absolutely nothing to me in the slightest bit. The handshake might mean a little bit, but they're not going to warp the front like what's on the new PRS styles. Like when I look at a PRS, with the ones that have this carved in, I can't even look at it. I could not own or touch or play that guitar. This has got a good enough handshake. I'm getting in, see that? No problem at all. Even with me reaching from underneath it that much, I have complete access. There's no need at all to bevel, warp, or otherwise grind or cut down this shape. And when PRS did that, of course people are going to say, oh, look what they did. It's an improvement. It's an enhancement. Meh. It looks like crap and I would not touch it. Okay, so far I haven't seen any PRSs that I wanted to own. And it's more aesthetics than anything. They might play great and sound great. For me, it has to look great, play great, and sound great. And so they don't look right to me. There's just something about them that just doesn't look right to me. They got a cool bird in flight inlay thing going on, and they're expensive. Anyway. So this is a Mitchell. Locking tuning machines, HSH, really great. It's got a split coil, great push-pull. It's been endorsed by professional jazz, blues musicians. I have upgraded the bridge to a Fender style, and this is a magnificent instrument. And like I said, this is one of my go-tos if I'm going to play. I have a handful of go-to guitars. The rest are great, and I can play them, and I might actually use them to record, especially if I'm doing something special. Like if I'm going to do something that's more metal than what I usually play, I'll go for my Mitchell or my Dean Zone 2. If I'm going for something a little more strummy or clean or something like that, I might go for a different guitar. But just the way I play, my style, I'm rock with quite a bit of distortion, a little bit of reverb, a little tiny bit of echo, sustain stuff. I like a painted kind of sound. I like a crunch, kind of chunky but not too metal, and definitely harder than your normal brown sound kind of rock. I like some oomph behind. I might do a kind of just a demonstration later of the kind of sound I usually go for with my instruments. But when I'm doing go-to, this guy's on the list, maybe number 2 or number 3 go-to instrument. Mitchell. Alright, this is the one that's been in my video. This is 1 or 2, maybe. of my go-tos. I love this guitar with all my heart. This is one of my favorite instruments that I've ever played in my whole life. And you know, they say when you put a lot of work into something, then you love it more. You know, and that, you know, maybe if you get a car and when you got it, so much was wrong with it that it just couldn't even be used. But when you were done putting all of the work and all the attention and all the money and all the time, it became your favorite car. That's how this guitar was for me. When I first got it, it was a GST2, and so yeah, it's a Glarry. This is a Glarry, but it's not a Glarry anymore. It supposedly had the better body. It had the Wilkinson branded better pickups. It has better electronics. It has a better nut. Supposedly every single thing about it was better, but the neck just wasn't right for me. You know, when they say the cheaper guitars are hit or miss, the neck on it was a miss. And the neck's the most important thing. I mean, if the neck's great and it's on a, you know, if it's on a pizza box and the neck is good, then the guitar's great. But if it's on a Stradivarius unearthed body from the 1600s and the neck is crap, then the guitar is crap. You know, so this one's body was perfect, but the neck was not. There were parts of the neck that just, and I put the neck through its paces. I did all the work. I shimmed, I you know, leveled, crowned, polished, edged, did the nut, everything, and it just didn't sit well, didn't sit right with me. So I'd said, okay, I'm going to get a new neck for this guitar. That's my project here. I'm going to get a new neck. I looked for necks. I found a Fender style neck that wasn't too cheap, wasn't too expensive. It's not a real Fender. Okay, so this project was to make this a good enough guitar. So I put a Wilkinson bent metal saddle bridge, and this has got a huge heavy sustain block. This is what's in my videos. So if you want to see the creation of this guitar, it's in my In Bed with Guitars videos. This was made in my videos. The electronics in it are actually great. I show it. This has good electronics. So they're not high end, but they're way better than low end. The pickups are amazing. I love the pickups. They are nice and loud and clean and crisp and perfect. They're not high-end Wilkinson, but they are Wilkinson. So Wilkinson bridge, Wilkinson pickups, pretty good electronics. The neck is totally Fender style, and I did this neck. It's been shimmed, it's been level crown, polished, edged. I did the nut. I put the string rollers on it. I dug through all my tuners, and I found the best tuners that I had out of my leftover stuff. And so it has good tuners. It has a good neck. It has a good nut. It has good string trees, good pickups. Everything about it is good now. And then after all the work I put into this instrument, this guitar plays probably better than anything I've ever played. It's on par with my expensive instruments. It is, when I want to play guitar, I grab this guitar pretty much first every time. And I love it. It just sounds so good. And this body is a Glarry. The knobs, these are the Wilkinson that are sold on the GST2 by Glarry. The bridge is an upgrade, a major upgrade, and one of the biggest deciding factors on the quality of sound from it. This bridge changed absolutely everything. With the bridge, the neck was still crap, but it would have sounded that much better. But this neck is exceptional. It is one of the best necks I've ever played on in my life. And that I got this neck is, you know, it was just a godsend for me, really. If I'm going to complain about anything, this is a push-pull. I need to tighten it up. But for this to be where I want it to be, it's going to have to be way up here like that. And so I need to get in and tighten it when it's way up there like that. No big, it's really no big deal. That's not even a real nitpicking thing. It just, this needs tightened. And once it's tightened a little more, that's going to be right. Because I like this, I've got big hands and I like this to be high up off the strings. I don't like it to be way down here where it's almost touching the knobs. But yeah, this is my guitar. And this is not a brand of guitar. This is a guitar that I made from parts. I set it up, I did all the work to it and everything. And I would not change anything about this guitar. I mean, honestly, I would have no reason. In fact, I'd be worried if I changed anything on it. If I was going to change anything, it would be I'd put locking tuning machines on it. And I know that wouldn't affect it at all in a negative way. But it doesn't need it. It holds tune fine. And I've picked this guitar up after months of not playing it. I ran through my other guitars. You know, I go through all my guitars and test them and everything. Oh, it might have been 3 weeks or something like that. I went like 3 weeks without playing this guitar, and it was still in tune. I picked it up even after weather changes and everything. This guitar is magic. This guitar is not normal. And so yeah, would I recommend buying a Glarry GST2? Probably not. But if you're going to do to it what I did to it, and you've got that skill and time and love for it, then yeah, by all means, because the body's great. I don't know, I didn't tally up the cost of what I put into it. The bridge wasn't super expensive. The neck wasn't that expensive. It might have been, I might have put, I don't know, $80, $80 to $100 worth of parts in it at the very most. And I think it was on sale for 150 bucks, something like that when I bought it. Now what I will say for Glarry is that this guitar came with a styrofoam insert in the box that fit the shape of the guitar perfectly. So it would have been nearly impossible for this guitar, unless somebody intentionally, you know, threw, stepped on, dropped, flung, or otherwise intentionally tried to damage it. It could not have been damaged in shipping. So, and I don't know how they can afford that. I'm still kind of baffled by how they can even. Now, there are newer Glarry guitars that they've come out with recently. I've heard nothing but good things about their tellies. That they're just better than, you know, you get way more than what you pay for with their tellies. But they have a couple newer styles. One of them that reminds me of a Pacer, but it's got kind of like a blue-black striped paint that you would never see on a Pacer. But the body style is kind of like a Pacer, and I want one. I mean, I want one of those. I love them. And they have a couple other ones too that are newer. But yeah, so this is my baby. That's one of my favorite instruments of all time, and I play it all the time, and I love every single little tiny thing about it. All right, next up. Now, if you would have asked me, you know, several years ago, if I could have a guitar like this, I probably would have said no. Because I had this phase where every guitar I had to look like spree candy. Like they all had to be bright candy colors, like orange and yellow and red and green, like a spree candies. But when I bought this was another one from Butler Music. This is a Butler Music house brand, but instead of effin', this one says Lucky Penny on the headstock. And when I saw that, I just had a daughter named Penny. And so I bought this thinking, oh, that reminds me of Penny. And it says Lucky Penny on it. Now this is very similar to the Fiesta Red that was the second instrument that I showed. That's an effin' guitar. That's a house brand from Butler. This was also one. Pretty sure it's the same factory, same kind of guitar as that effin' guitar. It has the same type of neck. Only I didn't sand this one down. I tried to keep it nice as much as I could. So, what did I do to this guitar? Well, I put these cool looking bronze colored knobs on it. So the knobs are kind of bronzish. Okay, and that's to match the bronze saddles. They're brass, I think. Go ahead and get in there a little bit. Okay. And these sound good, and I like them. And I thought they would look good on this instrument. This is the original bridge it came with. It's thinner, but it works okay. If I was going to replace something on the instrument, it would probably be this bridge. But I might keep the saddles no matter what bridge I put on there. So I might put like a really heavy sustain block Wilkinson on here, but then put these saddles on there. Then I'll have a bunch of bent metal saddles left over that I can put on something else. Win-win. At some point in time, the bridge pickup went bad on me. So I put this bridge pickup in it, and I like how it sounds. It's a little weaker, lighter sounding pickup, and I like it. I like what it does. I get a kind of a special thing going on when I combine it with the middle. So when I go bridge middle, because this is a lighter one, it has kind of a thicker sound, but then it trails with that treble from the bridge. When it's on the bridge only, it's nice and sharp, but it's not overbearing and it's not very loud. I like it very much. The neck is your pretty sure fake roasted maple, I guess, unless roasted maple has the color maple underneath it, which I wouldn't think it would. I would think if you roast maple, then you're going to get this darker coloration throughout, but I don't know. I've done the neck, level crown, polished fret, edges, done the nut. I put the string trees on it, the string roller trees. This has the tuners that the guitar came with. So other than the knobs and the saddles and the replacement pickup and the string trees, everything else is stock. Now this guitar is one of my go-tos as well. It's probably number 3, maybe. It played great from the very beginning, and the level crown polish and stuff like that was to get the frets perfect, but I really didn't need it. It could have probably done an edging and just left the frets alone with just edging, but it played great. And this one plays better than my Fiesta Red one, which I really love the Fiesta Red one, but you know, and that's one thing I've noticed is this instrument's body is heavier. So even though if you were to look at this sitting next to the Fiesta Red, you'd think that they're the same guitar, this one's body is quite a bit heavier than the Fiesta Red one. And it just feels sturdier. It feels more stable. And very, very good guitar. This is a great instrument. And again, Butler Music House brand. I'm sure it's an Effin guitar, but this one was labeled Lucky Penny. I like the pattern. It's your classic, whatever, 2 or 3 tone burst. Very reminiscent of your 50s Strat style, which I love. I mean, my favorite Strat is the 50s Stratocaster. And I've heard they have more treble, and they're a little like kind of quackier, louder, but I just don't care. And if I was going to get a Fender, you know, if someone said, look, we're going to give you a couple grand, well, I'm getting a Fender made in Corona, California, you know, probably whatever I can get it, a Fender American. It's got to look good though. It's got to look good. But if I'm really limited on money and I'm going to get a Fender, it's going to be a Squier Classic Vibe 50s. I've wanted a Squier, the 50s Classic Vibe, since I saw one. And I just know that it's going to be good no matter what. I know that the Squier 50s Classic Vibe is going to be just a great one. Now the new Ventera series that are meant to imitate the old stuff, yeah, a 50s Ventera or Ventera 2, whatever they're called, oh, I'd love to have one, but I don't have the money. if I did have the money, yeah, I'd probably go ahead and buy one. And one of these days, I'm sure I'm going to have an American Fender and just be jumping around about how great it is. And I don't know, I might be afraid to work on it though. I'm not afraid to work on these cheaper guitars. This one came from Butler without anything wrong. It was perfect and beautiful. It's a Lucky Penny Strat style. Okay. This is my gold top. No, it is not a Gibson. It is a Oscar Schmidt by Washburn, and it has dragon inlays. I love this guitar. This is the third one of this I got. I bought this from Butler Music. The first one they sent me was dropped in shipping and had shattered parts on the neck. The second one they sent me was dropped in shipping and had a crack on the neck and some missing bits along the body. The third one, third time was a charm, got to me in perfect shape. And so this was actually the third one they sent me. Now, it has the telltale signs of a cheaper kind of gold top. The bent plastic shrouds, the little rings for your pickups. I would want to get rid of these. I want to lose these and put harder ones that don't bend. See that? How you get that little bendy thing going on there? Yeah. Now, when I got it, I was happy with it, but not 100% happy with it. And I bought it because I've always wanted a gold top. I mean a real Les Paul Gibson gold top. But I've heard, you know, the headstock is waiting to explode and they never stay in tune, and you know they're super expensive. I watched a video once where a guy said he was in a guitar shop and there was a $400 Les Paul Gibson gold top and he bought it right away. And I just want to smack the piss right out of him. I want to smack him, you know, super hard, because that, I wish I could find that, because I've never heard of that. Never, never, never. Every time I've found a Les Paul Gibson gold top, it was expensive, like 1,000 or more at least, and never attainable. But I've always wanted one. So it's got the poker chip. It's got good clean switch. Clicky clacky. This is a replacement bridge. I put this on, I installed it. So I had to plug the body with dowel rods, had to drill the dowel rods, had to install the bridge. It completely transformed the instrument into a master tier instrument. It plays so good now that it is a completely different beast altogether with this bridge. And this is a great bridge. It is so good that it's, I'm just going to zoom in on it. This bridge changed everything. Okay, now it is roller saddles, and it's really sturdy and thick and chunky, and it's tight. The tolerances and clearances, I set it up as absolutely perfectly, painstakingly as possible. I wanted this bridge, I wanted it to transform the instrument, because I really wasn't happy with the crappy fake Tune-o-matic, and you know, it wasn't good. What was on it was not acceptable. But now it is really playable. Now, when I said earlier that if I'm playing something, you know, more brown sound, less destructive, less explosive and stuff, then I'll use this guitar. This would be my go-to for that. It sounds really, really great with just the right amount of distortion. And of course, you know, if you like to look at dots to see what the heck you're doing, then welcome to the Dragon. This is a Dragon inlay guitar. So it's got this beautiful dragon breathing fire coming at you, kind of abalone. Now my zodiac sign, Tauri Chinese, would be a dragon. So I guess it's the same as Sagittarius. So that's partly why I wanted to get a dragon inlay guitar, just for that. No big whoop. It's an Oscar Schmidt by Washburn. And I've seen this guitar back when you could find them going for $550 to $600. And I didn't pay that for this. I think I paid, you know, a little under $300, I think, at the very most. It's flimsy, kind of. I don't know. I want to replace these. I think I might put zebra pups in it, but I'm not 100% sure yet. I don't have a problem with the pickups. They're nice and loud and crunchy and everything. The bridge changed everything. It made it into an excellent instrument. It has a tiny, tiny little nick right there. You can't even see it, but it's really like a pinprick in the gold. And so I want to get, you know, whatever, like a matching bronzish gold, whatever, like a nail polish, and then just get a toothpick and dip it in that nail polish and then just dot it right there, and then just kind of mush it down a little bit, let it dry, mush it down, just to fill in that little tiny, it's like really like it's a pinpoint in it. You can't see it until you really get in and look, and I've seen a lot worse, honestly. And I've taken this off before, just to kind of to get a feel for it without the little finger guard going on. I've done the nut, I've done the neck a couple of times. The last time I did the neck, it was in tandem with the new bridge, and after that, this guitar became one I can actually play and get stuff done with, and it sounds good. Like, I just love how this guitar sounds, and I love that it's a gold top. I love everything about it. Yeah. It's not a Gibson, but it stays in tune better, I'm sure, than a Gibson. So yeah, that's a Oscar Schmidt by Washburn, gold top with dragon inlay. Alright, rather than yank this down off the wall, this is a Dean Angel of Death 2 Dave Mustaine Signature Edition guitar. It's for sale right now on Richmond, Indiana Craigslist, in case anybody wants it, for a song. It's got Dragonfire pickups. I like those pickups. It's perfect condition. It's been treated. The neck's good. Everything's good about it. Plays great. It's just, you know, it's a decoration. It was bought to be a decoration because I love the art, and it's not my style of guitar for playing. So, but yeah, I love it. Great guitar. I love the art on it. That was the reason for buying this guitar, was that. I just absolutely love the artwork on it. I think it looks so beautiful. Okay, now this one would be kind of hard to reach because my bicycle's in the way. This is a 1988 Ibanez Roadstar, and now this was made right after they stopped putting Roadstar on the Roadstars. They started calling them the RS guitars, and I don't think I've done anything to it at all. It's stock. It plays great. Sounds good. Not too much damage or anything like that. It's very lightweight, but it sounds really good. Like most of my guitars, if I was going to do something with it, I would probably swap out the bridge or something, but it sounds great. And I love it. I play on it a lot. It plays great. One of my better playing instruments, like Ibanez usually are. 1988 Ibanez Roadstar. Alright, this is a kind of a popular brand. It's on eBay, and it's called Alan Eden. And they have some kind of unique attributes. Has a really good neck. I like the instrument a lot. I've done a little work on it, but I haven't had to do much. Came with bent metal saddles, nice tone knobs, relatively good electronics. Nice volume knob there. This is an HSS, nice and loud. It's got your adjustments at the neck instead of at the end. It has more of a kind of a Telecaster style headstock, and you can see where two wood pieces are woven into the neck. So you get that on the back, and so it's a really good, fast, sturdy neck. Good tuners. It's got kind of a classic style knobs. Okay, and it's like a seafoam green, pearloid, nice snappy tactile switch. Yep, it's a great playing instrument. I like it a lot. And they sell parts too, if I remember. I don't know if I haven't been in their store in a long time, but last time I was there they had just tons of bodies and necks and just all the different parts. And I'm really glad I got this one. So it's a good instrument. I keep it in its case, and it came with this gorgeous case that's this kind of a red, almost Fiesta red. And for a while I was using this case for one of my Ibanez guitars that I'll show later, because it matches the case a little bit better. But nice cushy case. Alan Eden. Alright. This is my Ibanez. It says Geo. Most people associate Geo with kind of, budget entry level, but they actually are really high quality instruments. This one was from a store that set it up before it was sold. And I haven't changed the setup at all. Haven't done any work on it. Haven't had to do any work on it. It was, absolutely perfect. Their setup was perfection. Got your two knobs. Nice heavy switch. Now there are some weathering on some of the screw holes, and when I thought, oh, did I leave the plastic on this thing? But I didn't. It was actually just something that happened, and it doesn't really bother me too much, but it is there. It's kind of like a whitening around the screw holes. This one has this cool red binding all the way around it. It has the red, amazing looking red inlays with red binding. And this guitar, even though it's a hardtail, it's a total shredder. It plays so good. It plays amazing. Let me see. It's not out of tune. It's not in tune at all, but it's got your side connection here. I like to use a little, L-shaped butted cable for these. So I don't use just your typical pronged sticking out cable. I usually don't play standing up. Excuse me. I usually don't play standing up. I'll play sitting down comfortably, usually on my bed. But sometimes I'll sit in like a cushy chair or something. But now I played standing up when I was 16, 17, 18, so now I like to sit down and relax when I play guitar. So yeah, this is a newer Ibanez Geo. I guess this would be Fiesta red, some type of red. and white. They have a black variant of this with the same everything else. And I thought about getting, I saw a body that was, it came with extra parts, and I was thinking of getting it so I could replace this finger guard because of this little, whatever that white is that's going on. I'll zoom in on it to kind of show it if I can. But, well, let's see if you can see it on there. Hey, that shows it. This ring here, around that, that's kind of a whitish coloration, and it's on here, as you can see right here. It's on this one. And like I said, when I first saw that, I thought, did I not peel the plastic off? Does the plastic not peel off of this thing? And then I felt it, and the plastic's off of it. That's not plastic. That is on the pick guard. So whatever caused that, I don't know. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. And I've played this a lot, and I like to keep it put up. I like to keep it put in. In fact, now that I have this case out, I'm going to go ahead and swap out. I'm going to put the Allen Eden in this hard shell case, and I'm going to put this guy in that Fiesta Red matching case, so that it's easier for me to get to this, because I've been wanting to play this guitar. It used to hang on my wall where the Ibanez 88 Roadstar is right now. This used to be there because it's got the white and orangish red look. I like to have orange stuff everywhere. But yeah, great guitar. If you can get one because they are magnificent. They play really good. And this one came professionally set up. If I can remember the name of the shop, because they're kind of, I don't know if they're big or small, but they don't have a huge amount of instruments and stuff, but you know, their gimmick is a sales gimmick that more places should do. They sell their instruments after they've been professionally set up. So, you know, you buy a $200 or $300 guitar, get ready to go spend $150 getting it set up perfectly in some cases. This one was maybe, I don't know, $30 to $50 more than if I bought it not set up, and it was completely set up from them. So it saved me, but it didn't save me anything really, because I could set the thing up myself. But I was attracted to it. I thought, oh well, it comes set up and it looks great, and I want one of those guitars. I absolutely love the color. I love everything about the color, the binding. It's a lightweight, but not too light. Really clean, like just super clean angles and everything. A really great fast neck. You know, of course, that's what you should expect from Ibanez. I have never played an Ibanez guitar in my life that wasn't absolutely perfect in like every way. And one of the best guitars I ever had that I actually sold, I put it in the pawn shop and unfortunately couldn't get it out of the pawn shop, was an older Ibanez Roadstar 2 that was black. And it was one of my favorite guitars that I ever had. But since then, I've got guitars that are way better. That was quite a long time ago. It might have been, you know, I don't know, 15 years ago or something. And that was before I was really into customizing and repairing and fixing them up and maintaining them. It was just, you know, yank the guitar, tune, play, and then put it back. And that's how the majority of guitarists are there, you know. They yank, tune, play, put back, yank, tune, play, put back, and then if anything goes wrong, they get ready to cough up a lot of money. And I don't have that, so I don't have that money, so I have to be able to deal with it myself. But this one I didn't have to deal with it all because it was set up by them, and it is absolutely perfect. And it's in like new condition even right now. It hasn't been played much, but when I've played it, it is absolutely perfect. Perfect playing in every way. So yeah, Ibanez Geo. Just a side note, now that I'm swapping these guitars, this is a Chromacast guitar case. Chromacast also does the Sawtooth line, and they work with Michelangelo Badio, and they are the best deal for a guitar case that you could possibly get. They are the highest quality for the money ratio that you can get. So yeah, I recommend them. Not a paid endorsement. Alright, this is my tweed case. If you don't have a tweed guitar case, you need one. Because look how awesome that looks. Now this, I don't remember where I got it. I don't think it was a Glarry, but it might have been. I don't think so though. I got it from somebody. Not super expensive. But this, whew, this is a prototype guitar. This is a prototype LTD ESP M50FR. Guess what the FR stands for? Yeah. It's got an LTD branded Floyd Rose. This guitar was a prototype before they released it for sale to be, you know, a permanent guitar. And so I bought it. I've still got the box upstairs that says prototype on the box. And you know, I don't know if they do that just to sell more guitars or kind of make you think you're getting something special or whatever, but this is an amazing player. It plays so perfectly. It's a great guitar. It's just a magnificent instrument. I recommend LTD ESP. Their stuff is above and beyond. Like their quality is very, very high for the price that you pay. Anyway, this wasn't super expensive. I think it might have been, I don't know, $300 or something like that. But it plays great. Looks really good. It looks like I need to clean it up a little bit. I think there might be some corrosion on the screws around the pickup rings. But the bridge looks absolutely perfect. It looks immaculate. I wonder if those are the original knobs. I think they are. But they look kind of off orange a little bit. I'm going to have to check older pictures because I know I didn't change the knobs on this instrument. But yeah, you got the LTD branding. Of course, it's an ESP instrument. All of them have this, you know, fancy 12th fret that says, you know, what it is you're dealing with. And so this says M50FR. I've got the paperwork in the box that proves it is a prototype instrument. So this was before they started this run. They made prototypes and sold them, and I went ahead and snatched it up while I could. And it plays great. Action's great. Frets are great. The frets came perfect right out of the box. They're absolutely immaculate frets. Totally 100% perfect. I have done zero work to this instrument. In fact, I'm pretty sure these are the strings that came on the guitar when I bought it. I've never done anything to this guitar other than tune it, play it, put it in a box. Tune it, play it, put it in a case. And that's it. So yeah, it's a LTD ESP prototype guitar. Alright, now we're up in my attic where I keep some of my other guitars. This was one of the first ones we customized together. Erin was better at soldering than me. She had a steadier hand, and I taught her to solder. And so sometimes when I worked on guitars, I would have her do the soldering. And so she actually did the soldering for this one. This is a Rev guitar, and they're kind of hard to find nowadays. I don't know how many of them you're going to find out in the wild, but it's a Rev. I put these Dragonfire twin rails, so if you count each twin rail as a humbucker, this is an HHHHH. It is a 5 humbucker setup. Nice, heavy, tactile switch. I'm pretty sure the switch is backwards. I think when she wired this, she didn't really know and set it up so that this is the bridge, this is these two, this is the middle, this is these two, and then this is the neck. So that's why I have it up here. Nice tight knobs. This is a licensed by Floyd Rose, and it has really good bolts on it. These bolts have the open, they're not like cheap painted crappy ones. They are open with an edge, so you can actually adjust these with a screwdriver or with a wrench. And this is actually a pretty good bridge. There's nothing wrong with it. I like it. It's okay. I've done work on it. I've done the neck. I don't think it's in tune. When it got to me, there was a little tiny, let's see if it's still, yeah, right on the very edge of the headstock. Yeah, right here. There was a little tiny chunk taken out of it. And I think that was from in shipping, but I don't know. And it's got, let's see here, cool looking black rev on the headstock. This is the tuners it came with. It's got no plate, of course. It's got a raised, kind of amateur-ish cover. This is a raised cover too, though. Quite often these are sunk in, even if this is raised. It's got a little bit of a, let's see here, a little bit of a curve here near the handshake. It's not recessed or rounded, but it's curved. So yeah, maybe like a little cheaper than some of those more recessed rounded ones. And it's loud. Like, this thing's really a super loud electric guitar. And I don't know, I'm not used to this camera setup the way it is here in the attic. But so this will be the first one from my rack that's upstairs here. It is a Rev. I don't know, it says something. Let me see. RPX1 series. So it's a Rev RPX1. It's had upgraded Dragonfire twin rail and quad rail and the twin rail pickups. Floyd Rose license, but it's a heavy duty, nice heavy thick metal, pretty good, but cheap. It's a cheap bridge. I don't know what this is. I don't think it's rosewood, but I don't think it's maple either. But it's pretty good. I'm sure I've done all of the fretwork and everything on this instrument. And I like it. It's a pretty good one. It's upstairs though, because I already have a yellow instrument on my rainbow rack. So if there was anything that made the rainbow rack, you know, not flow perfectly, then I put it on the rack upstairs. And some things are up here for other reasons though. Alright, this is my only Telecaster style guitar. Now I'm thinking of getting some other Telecaster styles. I'm not like, obviously I'm not a hardcore Telecaster fan or one of these people where if I was going to pick, it would be a Telecaster no matter what kind of person. I think Tellies are okay. They're hardtail no matter what. This one has the ashtray. It has the 3 section, which makes intonating it kind of a little bit of a bitch. This was a custom made instrument. This body was actually made from a super old repurposed pine wood gymnasium floor from like a, you know, a Stone Age school. And the guy that made it is a custom guitar building luthier named Mikey G. I think it's like G-E-E. He does Mikey G customs. I don't know if he's, you know, still cranking them out or what's going on with that, but he made this. So this was a repurposed pine body, ashtray, single coil, the kind of metal, it's not a lipstick, but I don't remember what they call this, but it's a single coil. He called it a twang caster, And I've worked on the neck since to maybe take a slight bit of the twang out of it, because I'm not much of a twang guitarist. But it's got pretty good nut going on. Now he had a custom made label on the headstock, and it had peeled off over time, but it still has his signature on the back. So I'll go ahead and just put that up there, and that's him. So it's from 2013. It's 10 years old now, and there's his Mikey G Customs. See if I can get that to focus. So, and it's got great looking little tuners. There's Wilkinson stamped tuners, and definitely a Telly style headstock. I went ahead and put the roller trees, which, you know, I don't know if those are characteristic. I don't think they're characteristic of a Telly, but I don't care. Everything gets roller trees. Nice body, and it plays great. It really sounds good. It's obviously not in tune, so definitely not in tune. But yeah, it plays great. I've done a lot of work on it over the years, and this is my only Telecaster. Now my son, my oldest son, when he thought he might get into guitars, I gave him this, and then he said, "Oh, I'm not really into guitars. I don't like it," so I took it back. But he was in possession of it for a while, and he liked it. But you know, I really wish my kids would just realize that when you live with someone who has a skill like that, then you need to absorb it from them. You need to learn from them. And I regret that they didn't want to learn as many things from me. I taught them stop motion animation and a little bit about artwork and stuff, but this was something I really wanted to teach all my kids, but you know, none of them really got into it much. Phoebe got into it a little bit, but I think she moved over to bass guitars. I hope she sticks with it. So yeah, this is a Mikey G Custom Telecaster made out of repurposed, super old pine wood floor. Nothing else is like it. It's a one of a kind. Okay, now we have one that I've customized quite a bit. This is a Dean Vendetta. Now, just recently, one of the guitar channels that I watch, Scarred Guitar. He's so much fun to watch. He's one of the funnest people to watch on YouTube. He uses CNC machines and routers and stuff and makes his own custom guitars, and they always look so cool. And you know, he's salty. That's a great way to describe him. He's a really salty individual with, you know, really great opinions and tact. And you know, he's just a really cool individual with a very unique skill set where he can make a really great electric or acoustic electric instrument using CNC machines and routers and stuff, and his work is really tempting. Like every time I see something he makes, I just want to gobble it up. I love his work. And he just recently did a video that said, hey, it's cheap and it's good. It's a Dean Vendetta. Now Dean, of course, is just having a great time swashbuckling with Gibson, and you know, it really sucks what's going on because everyone else has been copying Gibson forever. So we're going to turn that off for a moment. So how come Dean gets in so much trouble? Their headstocks are different, their logos are different, even their designs are slightly different, but Gibson is just chomping at them and chewing them up. Anyway, these are Dragonfires I installed, custom yellow knobs to match the Dragonfires, and they actually do match it. The Vendetta has a really great headstock. Whenever I think of Vendetta, I always think of Rollins Band, because he says, I've got a Vendetta. And Rollins is like one of my favorites of all. I love Henry Rollins. I just love everything about him. I mean, he's more than an artist or anything. He's one of the few people where he seems to really just be like on a quest, kind of, and you feel like you're always like kind of walking alongside him on his own little quest, no matter what. And that's kind of neat. I feel like, you know, you can't help but feel like you kind of are personally somehow invested in Henry Rollins. And I mean, I won't say I don't have like a massive collection of Rollins stuff. I don't follow him, or I'm not some like, you know, but whenever I've heard his songs, I love Liar. I think Liar is just one of the heaviest, best rock songs. I absolutely adore the video, the song, the lyrics, the guitar. Like, it is so good. It's on a whole other level, and a lot of his stuff is like that. But whenever I think of Vendetta, I think of, and I don't know, I hope it is a Rollins song. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it's a Henry Rollins song. I've got a Vendetta. And of course, I don't think it had anything to do with Vendetta, like a Dean Vendetta, but maybe Dean Vendetta named it that, kind of jab, pokey, winky, hinting at, you know. But yeah, I love this guitar. It plays great. I've got a little bit of stuff here. I need to put a new nut on here. So here where I've cut it maybe a little too perfect, I've got a little bit under there to soften it up when I play it, and it's great. It doesn't hurt it. And everything in this attic is out of tune. So I've done the neck on it. It has a great neck. That's something about these Vendettas, is they play really, really great. They're kind of like, they remind me of Ibanez cheap stuff, only it's Dean. A lot of Dean stuff, even if it's not the most expensive thing that they got, it still plays really, really great. And that's how this guitar has always been. When I first bought this instrument, it always played great. And I think over a couple seasons it got some fret hang, so I did the fret job on it. The original pickups, I loved it, but I wanted some really crunchy, loud Dragonfires. So I put Dragonfires in it. To match the Dragonfires, I put the custom knobs in it. But yeah, it's a Dean Vendetta, and this guitar is excellent. I think, let me see here. Yeah, those are the original tuning machines. I thought maybe I'd swapped them out, but I didn't. And this is another one I need to come up here with some Hops 8 or something and just lightly glaze over some of the metal. Some of the metal needs a little tiny bit of TLC. But yeah, if you can get, I'm sure you're going to hear that from Scarred Guitar, but if you can get a Dean Vendetta on the cheap, then you're going to get a good instrument. Maybe a little tiny bit of work, and it's going to be, you know, a great instrument. This guitar is great. It's upstairs because I already have a dark blue guitar on my rainbow rack. Okay, here's one I picked up from a Canadian store. They're on eBay. Try to remember the name of them off the top of my head. It's not, the pistons aren't firing. But they have a lot of the same brands, like all of them, and they have pretty good prices. Like, they have really, really good prices. Kana Music, that's who it is. It's Kana Music, and this was one that kind of surprised me. It has bent metal, and they have a branding on it that I'm not familiar with, but it's bent metal. It has a push-pull on the whammy bar. I've got the whammy bar put away. It has really good pickups, nice and loud. It has a good, strong, tactile, responsive switch. Pretty good knobs, no complaints on the knobs. It also has a really fat sustain block. That's something that I noticed. I don't know if you can even see in there or even be able to tell, but that's a big, fat sustain block inside there. I care about that a lot. No plate, rounded. Nice thin neck. The neck is kind of reminiscent of like Ibanez style. It's flat and thin. It's got, and this is a G grate. And it reminds me of a Mitchell, the way it has this dip here. Excuse me. It came with this type of string roller. I didn't install that. That was stock. The nut's good. It plays pretty good. I got this thinking maybe if one of my kids wants to get in to guitar, then I'll have this ready for them as kind of a student instrument, like prepared for somebody in case they might want one. But it is a great instrument. Plays good. I'd love to do a little work on it. The color is weird. It's like a cherry burst, and there's a little knurl wood here visible through the lacquer. It looks like maybe a 2-stage cherry burst, perloid finger guard. I like the staggering of the inlays. I think that's pretty cool. I like it when they stagger the inlays. It's a 24, as you can see here, 24 fret, which is semi-unique. Good tuners. Pretty much everything about the guitar is good. It's not like the greatest ever. Actually the strap nut here is actually really good. So yeah, it's like a cut above some of the cheaper entry-level instruments. It'd be a great student instrument, and it plays good. It's nice and loud, and I love fat sustain blocks. I love push whammy bars, and I love bent metal saddles. So that's just, this alone is just great stuff right here to come with a relatively inexpensive instrument. I think it's a plastic nut. I'd probably replace the string tree with a lower, more Fender centric string tree. I would probably put locking tuning machines on it to help to secure the tuning. Maybe put different pickups, just, I don't know, maybe a different pick guard. What do you put with a cherry burst? You know, like, it's perloid with cherry burst, and if this was all white, it would maybe be a little too creamy for a cherry burst. If it was black, then I don't know how that would look with it. Who cares though, you know? I mean, it could be customized. One thing I noticed was on the very edge of this pick guard, it seemed slightly unfinished. Like, it made me think that, you know, in a factory or wherever they dealt with it, they should have sanded this down or something a little more. And it's a 3-level finger guard, pick guard. I call it a finger guard because that's actually what scratches it, is your fingers. So your pick isn't scratching that guard. So when they call it a pick guard, that's kind of erroneous. So yeah, a G Great from Kana Music, Canadian. And they also do groove guitars that are like LP knockoffs. They do bass guitars that look really, really nice. They have, you know, great looking instruments that you've never heard of that you can only get from them. So, and it's fun to shop. They also have some good deals on drum parts and things. They just seem like a all around a one-stop shop out of Canada. Really good prices, fast shipping, friendly people. Saw this, picked it up. Right after I picked it up, it was gone forever, and I haven't seen it since. So, there we go. Okay. Back when I said not every one of my guitars am I going to say that it plays great or it's a perfect instrument, oh, it's so great and stuff like that. Well, okay. Story behind this Jackson. Got it from Sam Ash. Okay. Got to us really quick. This was my third daughter, Phoebe's, first guitar. And it was her only guitar. I think she tried to move to bass after that. I don't know if she's still playing bass or if she's stuck with it or what. She's in college, and I almost never see her. When this guitar got to us, you know, it didn't go through me. This was them buying it or whatever, you know. At least I don't think I bought it for her. I think she bought it herself. Now, it had so many problems out of the box. Like, it wouldn't stay in tune, the neck had sharp frets, the neck felt like it needed shimmed, the guitar itself didn't sound good, the body had spots on it that looked like it had been like cooked in an oven or something. Like, whatever causes paint to bubble was done on this guitar. Maybe it just wasn't you know, set properly or what. Looks like the action's really high on this bridge right now too. So, when they say that if you buy somebody a cheap, crappy guitar and they're a student, then they're going to be discouraged and they're not going to want to play. That might have been actually what happened with Phoebe. I'm not 100% sure, but this guitar never clicked with her. So she gave it to me. She said, hey, you can have it because I'm done. I'm not going to be doing this. So what I did was I think I shimmed the neck. I'm not 100% sure. I did a total neck job on it. Crown polish, fret, edges, level crown polish, and I edged the frets. It feels not 100% perfect even right now, but it's not jaggy. It's not sharp or jaggy, but it probably could use a once over again. It's Jackson, as you can see here. They're owned by Fender now. I put these custom red dope looking knobs on it. Okay. Let's see if I can find the spot. Oh yeah, it's right there. Okay, I don't know if you can see this on here, but right around here, I'll try to get a look at it. But yeah, like right around here, there's like this bubbly look to it. Ah, there. I think you can see it about right there. It looks almost like it's been cooked. And it has that on a couple of spots on the instrument. Just like a really crappy paint job. Now this has a set in. It's got a rather large sustain block. It's got a set in panel here and here. But they looked cooked. Like the panels looked, I don't know, kind of like they got cooked. I think this guitar might have been in a super hot UPS truck or something for a long time. I don't know. It's a Jackson. I don't think it's not like the super cheapest Jackson ever. It's not a dinky though. I think it's larger than a dinky. Pretty sure it is. Dinkies are small. I don't think that's what this is, but this is the only Jackson guitar that I have. Might be the only Jackson guitar I ever get. Does it sound good? It's okay. What would I do to it? I would replace the bridge. For real. This bridge is 2-pin. If I find the right width, then I'm going to put a higher quality bridge. If I look at the back, open it, and I like what I see, which I already know it's a nice fat sustain block, but the bridge is kind of, I don't know, it's not perfect. But if I look in the back again, I like what I see, I might just replace the saddles with roller saddles. That will help intonation and sustain. The pickups are okay. The neck took a lot of work to get to where it wasn't stabby, scratchy, nasty. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I shimmed it or not. I don't think I shimmed it. It's got this dip here. And I think that's indicative of this particular type of Jackson. Pretty good belly cut. You can see here, I can feel it. There's this bumpy kind of bubbly raised thing in the paint here. I don't know how this guitar, unless this was done in shipping through heat, which I mean, it would have to be a pretty ridiculous amount of heat to cause what's happened to this guitar. I don't know how it got through quality inspection, because the bubbles in the paint, if it was, you know, factory like that, someone would have said, no, this bubbles in the paint ain't gonna go. I don't know, maybe they don't care. Maybe they're just like, get it out the door. Probably more likely. So, but yeah, this one doesn't really play that great. With all the work I've done to it, it's not horrible, but I would want to, you know, put a lot more time into it to get it where it's really worth playing, honestly. So it was a kind of a disappointment. Now I didn't know, so this was a situation where she bought it, she was trying to play it, she kind of backed off on guitar and wanted to switch over to bass, and then she gave me the guitar. When she gave me the guitar, I'm sitting there looking over it going, is this how it was when you got it and stuff? I said, this thing looks like it's been like cooked in an oven or something. And the plastic on the back actually does look like it's like went through some major heat or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know what happened to this guitar, but, you know, it's not perfect. It's not 100%. It's not a great guitar. But I like the knobs. If I switch the bridge or switch the saddles, that might improve it. And one thing I might do with this guitar is put a Fender style neck on it. Just put like a nice high quality Fender style neck. A maple neck, you know. And it might be that the real only problem with it is the neck. I need to look over it again. But this one has been kind of a problem child guitar. Not a problem child's guitar. Phoebe's an excellent kid. I wish she'd spend more time with me, but, you know, couldn't ask more for my daughter. She's in college and is super smart and sweet and nice and just an all-around great person. But the guitar, I mean, is like a problem child. It's got problems and it needs to be fixed, but, you know, how? So yeah, I don't know. I think it's, I'm sure it's fixable, you know? I'm sure that it's fixable, but the body is never going to be 100% no matter what. Because those little bubbles and imperfections in the paint, whoever looks over it, it's going to stand out. So even if I can get this neck perfect, even if I can get these saddles perfect or get this bridge perfect, maybe if I put better pickups, if it even needs it, the body's still going to have that kind of, I got, you know, rescued from a oven kind of look to it. Anyway. Okay. This one is a Goosen. I think this might have come from Kana Music. Pretty sure it's a Canadian instrument. I put this sticker on it. This was a guitar I bought for my daughter Penny. It has a broken string that I need to fix. Screw in whammy bar, 6-screw bridge, cheap kind of cheaper saddles, you know, cheap pickups, just all around cheap. The neck I liked. It's really fat and kind of round, and maybe a fake kind of ebony looking wood. It has a wood plate. Let's see if I can get that on there. Wood. This is wooden. A little wooden truss rod cover plate that says Goosen on it. It's got the stagger tuners. The tuners aren't too bad. The nut is like not your typical Strat style nut. It's more like a whatever, like a Les Paul or one of those types. I think it's plastic. Not the best. Really thin, low frets. So this is kind of a style of instrument. I like the body, and I put the sticker on there for her. My daughter's been vegan for, she's been a vegetarian or vegan her entire life. She was a vegetarian for the first year and a half of her life and then went vegan, so she has never eaten meat in her entire life. So I know that's one thing she's not getting cancer from. Cool knobs. So what would I change about this instrument? Of course, the super cheap, flimsy, crappy bridge with no sustain block. I would put a whole different bridge on this instrument. I would probably put a better neck on it, maybe. I like the body. And it's got the two-body kind of setup here. I would put a higher-end HSS. I would put, definitely put a better bridge on it. Maybe a 6-screw Wilkinson with a push-pull trim bar. That would immediately change this guitar completely. So that'd be the first thing I'd change is the bridge. If I could tolerate the neck after the bridge change, then I might keep it that way. But if it doesn't fix it, then I would put like a Fender style neck on here, and maybe even just upgrade everything, you know, upgrade the whole entire thing, and just get the body out of it. And then maybe even put better knobs, you know, just keep the body. I like the sticker. I cut this out from something and it matches it perfectly. I don't remember how the string got broken. Somebody, I don't know if it was me. I mean, I don't know if it was me or my daughter. I played this for her to try to get her into it. And so far, the only one of my kids that has stuck with guitar at all has been my youngest son, Nick. And he played, and he'll play if you coax him a little with a stick. He'll play guitar. He also plays drums, and he plays drums more and better than he plays guitar. But he understands, you know, like bar chord, kind of like metal chord stuff. And he can pick and switch chords, and we've played before. And he plays drums with me, though. Like if I want a accompaniment, he'll play drums when I play guitar. And he does a really great job playing alongside me. He doesn't like to play alone, though. Like he won't just sit there and just kind of jam on drums for fun. But if you start playing guitar, he'll match up the guitar with drums, and it usually sounds really, really good. So he has that going for him. So this was for Penny, and she didn't really attach to it and didn't play it much, so she gave it to me. And I'd like to turn it into a better instrument, but it's going to take some work. It's not really that great of a player. I don't like the nut. I don't like the neck really that much either, but it's okay for what it is, and it could use some work. Okay, now here's the last guitar I think that I'm going to be showing. I also have a bass guitar and a acoustic bass. Oh, actually no, I have two other ones after this. I'm sorry, two other ones after this, and then that'll be all that I'm going to show. I'm not going to show my bass guitars today. Okay, but this is my only acoustic that I still play. It's an Ibanez. Okay. And I put some, I'm testing out dragon skins on it. So I don't know, you know, DR makes all kinds of extravagant, eccentric, kind of, you know, a little bit crazy stuff. I don't think it's in tune. Maybe. So yeah, if I feel like playing acoustic, then I'll play this one. I'm not really much, you know, into it. I did start on electric and acoustic. It's kind of blue, if you can see it. It's got this bluish color, and it's not a bad instrument. I adjusted things on it. I think I adjusted the bridge. Yeah, I lowered the bridge. I've changed these a couple times on it. The little, whatever you want to call them, string knots. I may have adjusted the, yeah, I think I did. I did the saddles, or not the saddles, the nut. I did the nut slots. And it plays good. I want different strings. I liked dragon skins, but I think I want some different strings. And I might change the nut on this instrument eventually, but I don't know. I don't think it really needs it. And from the amount that I actually play acoustic, it's perfect. It's perfect for me because I don't play acoustic that much. I would like occasionally take it out on my front porch and play, so just so I could hear what I was doing. And sometimes I'd take a Strat out there and, you know, just kind of listen. I even had my kids saying, oh, I can hear that, and they'd be like in the middle of my front yard and they could hear my Strat. But if I took this outside, then I've had people tell me they could hear me play at the park that's across the street. So that might speak for the acoustics of the foyer in front of our house and how it kind of is like a miniature amphitheater for sound, or, you know, that this is a nice full-bodied acoustic. It has electronics. I don't know, you can See that there? It uses a 9 volt. I hate things that use 9 volt batteries though. It plugs into the bottom there. There we go. And it has a pickup in it. So yeah, nice acoustic guitar. Sounds good. I like it. Done a little work on it. It might be a hair buzzy occasionally, but like I said, it's perfect for as much as I play acoustic, which is virtually never. And for whatever tiny amount of work might go into perfecting it, it would be worth it one day, I think. And if you want a good, not too expensive, but sounds good acoustic, then go for an Ibanez. I don't remember what model this is, but I remember looking it up, and because I don't even remember how much I paid for this, and it wasn't the cheapest thing you could get. It was cheap, but it wasn't the very cheapest thing you could get. But a very good acoustic. Okay, now I'm just gonna quickly jump right over to a different instrument. That's gonna be easier for me, I think. So this is one that I just brought to the attic so I could free up room. A Star guitar. It's heavy, Strat style, and it's a licensed by Floyd Rose, but it does not say licensed by Floyd Rose. So this is a not licensed by Floyd Rose, not Floyd Rose, but obviously Floyd Rose bridge. It has a little more tight, kind of snaggly fine tuners. It has the tactile nut. That's not the cheapest thing. I won't buy those anymore. I remember getting one of the really super cheap ones of these, and of course when I adjusted the nut back here, it broke. I mean, it gets worn away so that you can't tighten them anymore with very little effort. So and this is a good one. It's nice and heavy. Here, I'm going to zoom just a hair. Okay, let's get in here. Okay, so it's got HSH. It's got your nice tight knobs. Tactile switch, not too bad. This is a very heavy instrument though. It's always been one of my heavier instruments. Based on the headstock, I'm not 100% sure what this is. It reminded me of like Lion guitars that I saw back in the day, but this isn't as curved as those. But it has this little dip here, beaky kind of thing going on. I don't know what that's from. It's got the stars. Based on some artist, maybe Paul Stanley. Somebody has like the star inlays, and so this is copying off of that design, even though it's not even the same type of instrument. I don't think that has that. I love the inlays. The guitar plays well. It's not bad at all. It might even still be in tune from being upstairs. No, it's close. Not quite. And yeah, I've done quite a bit of work on this one. I think I did the frets. Everything's original though. The bridge is original. Everything that came with it's still on it, and it's been adjusted. I did the frets. I did the neck. I don't think it's been shimmed. It's got kind of that cream white looking thing going on. You know, if I was going to change anything on this one, it might be that I would put higher quality pickups and maybe an actual real Floyd Rose bridge. That would probably change it for the better. You can see this is set up the way I would have it set up. It's not too tight and it's not too loose. It's got a little bit of give and it's high up enough to use. So it works well. it's a relatively high quality bridge, even though it's not stamped anywhere that it's licensed by Floyd Rose, and it's definitely not a Floyd Rose bridge. It's got no Floyd Rose, got no license by. It is a generic one, but it is heavy and really thick, heavy metal. It's not like the really flimsy, crappy ones that I've seen before that are even stamped licensed by Floyd Rose, can be really flimsy, crappy, cheap ones that fall apart. It's lasted, it stood the test of time. And I've had this guitar for a pretty long time. I don't remember how long, but I have had this one longer than most of my other newer batch that I've got. And it plays great. So yeah, it's my star guitar with really pretty star inlays all over it. And then last for the attic, and I actually do have one more after this, but last up here is my Ibanez. This is an Ibanez guitar that I bought off of eBay, that I just kind of clicked with me right when I first saw it. And I thought, wow, what's special about that guitar? Why do I like it? And I'm sure this guitar was a, you know, kind of a bastard project of leftover parts. Let's see, I'm going to back it up a little bit. This was made of leftover parts, I'm pretty sure. So somebody had a Ibanez and they didn't want their frowned on Edge 3. So they put a different bridge on, so the Edge 3. So this is a, I think it's a Wizard 2 or 3 neck. It's a, maybe a, I don't know, 350 body and Edge 3 tremolo. I was told in the listing that these were Prestige pickups. These were out of a Prestige instrument, which are the high-end expensive Ibanez guitars. So my ears perked up when I read Prestige. And then this is an Infinity 3 single coil in the middle. I put these green knobs on it as upgrades, and the rings for the pickups disintegrated. The plastic rings were totally disintegrated junk. So these are new, fresh screwed, nice and tight, and they got this guitar the moniker of the watermelon. It's my Ibanez watermelon guitar, because with the pink, intentionally chosen pink pickup rings, the guitar looks kind of like a watermelon now. It has really cool inlays. It plays great. I'll just say right out, this guitar is one of my best playing of the shredder type of, you know, with the fancier kind of bridge and all that stuff. And this is a weird bridge. When it's tuned up and it sits just right, it's a seriously great bridge. But it's finicky, and I don't know, they're just like most Floyd Rose bridges. It's hard to get them just right and keep them that way. So yeah. Now it had some damage. This was before I even bought it. It was in the pictures and everything, to the lettering on the headstock. So let's see if I can even get this up there. It'll probably be upside down if I can. But yeah, right along the headstock, there's some lifted up parts. It's like a metal pressed, kind of plastic metal headstock. And this is a RG series, Roadstar Guitar Series. So of course it's much after '88 when they stopped putting Roadstar guitar on their Roadstars. But it's a Roadstar Guitar Series. It's got the bar, but it also has the locking nut. Has the cool looking, like whatever that's called, shark tooth or something, like whatever inlays. And the action on this guitar is incredible, and it plays fast and it plays good. It's always stayed in tune for a relatively long time. These are the new knobs that I put on it, which make it kind of look like the green of the body is kind of pushing up through the knob. So yeah, I really like this guitar. I've had this one for a really long time too, and I picked it up off eBay used, kind of, you know, love at first sight. Oh wow, it's got prestige pickups and all that stuff. And I've always been a fan of Ibanez. But yeah, if you are, you know, into Ibanez at all, you know that the Edge 3 bridge has been frowned on. But every other part of this guitar is really great. And I like the Edge 3. I don't have a problem with it. It just, you want to get your spring tension perfect. You want to get it perfect. Otherwise, it's not going to be easy to use. But I've got it pretty much set up perfect. The blade edges on these can sometimes go out, but I think this still has a pretty good amount of use on it. And, you know, I occasionally will use, you know, bend notes through the bridge, but it's not like it's the cornerstone of my playing. I've realized that I could probably play the majority of my stuff on hardtails, but I like to have the option there, you know, if I want it. And I've got the bar somewhere. I think I put the bar in a case somewhere just to keep it out. This got put in the attic to make room for something else on the rainbow rack, I think. But yeah, she's a great one. Had her for a long time. I think she might have been like the replacement for my old Roadstar 2 that I lost.